everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. the World's Life is Strange podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
What is this place? Mushroom Kingdom, here we come.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, that sums up my week. That sums up my week. But yeah, you'll be thankful to know that you're at a Life is Strange podcast, not a Mario one, because otherwise we'll be in for a lot of headaches. But yeah. Yeah, terrible. Anyway, yeah, we're back again. Obviously, we had a couple of technical issues in the last episode. I'm hoping this one doesn't have any technical issues. Fingers crossed whilst we record. I've tested part of it, but it's in God's hands now. So hopefully we have no issues with that. But in the meantime, if you are here as well and you're new, please do leave a subscribe, turn on notifications, like, share with the video, comment, let us know what you think of the video. Helps keep up to date with our content. We're at 963 subscribers. We're down one. Great. Just one down one.
That was me. Sorry, man.
Yeah, I went down one yesterday, so I was like, all right, that's cheers for that. But yeah, and also StrangeCast is available on podcast services. We're on everything. So we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify has got the video version as well. Apple Music, have a look. We're all on there. But yeah, so we're back. Obviously, go and check our last episode out. I was a bit video crippled by what was going on, but it still came out clean in audio, and we obviously had Katie on there. It was great having Katie on there. We're going to stick in. Yeah. We're going to move into Life is Strange 2 next week. I promise you. Unless something major happens, we're going to move into different ones because we've been focusing too much on Arcadia Bay Collection, Remastered Collection, True Colors, and we want to go into the other topics. So bear with us because I feel like in itself, I think it's reflective of the views that we get as well. Because it's like it just seems like we're talking about the same thing, but we'll really kind of move things on because I do want to talk about Life is Strange 2 and other Life is Strange stuff as well. So. As I said, bear with us. We'll kind of we'll mix things up in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, we're on StrangeCast here, this week's episode, and we'll kick things off. We got only 3 pieces of news, and this one we're going to Don't Nod Montreal. So this came out, I think it came out like not long after we dropped the last episode, which was a bit annoying.
Yeah, I know.
So we are going to Montreal. We're going to Twitter. We have studio executive producer Luc Baghadoust tweeted, and I quote, "Just discussed these guys' new ideas, and I've never been so excited about what's coming next." There's a picture of, obviously, our little videotape from the Montreal game in the background. We have Luc there. We also have other Life is Strange gaffer Michel Koch, the studio creative director at Don't Nod Montreal, and we have another person who isn't tagged, but I will bring my Sherlock Holmes ability back into the game and try and suss this person out because I think I tried to suss this person out. So I'm a little bit crossed that it's not me that's on the left. Like that's definitely not me. It is a white guy with bold black glasses and a beard, but that is not me, and I'm a little bit annoyed that that's not me. But he has more hair than you.
He does. Yeah, actually, he does.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not me, and I'm a little bit teased about that.
Yeah. So this tweet came out on the 28th of September. Yes. So it was kind of like nice little drop here, and I'll let Adam take it off because I'll try and suss out who this person is, the third person here.
We're doing a live detective work, are we?
Well, I've done a bit of it, but I'll kind of need to figure out the name again. So I'm going to go on LinkedIn and suss down who I thought it was.
Remember, Adnan, Masha.
Well, it's not Masha, so we're fine with that. So don't worry about that. But on top of that, before I let you talk first, because afterwards as well, Frederique tweeted, who's managing director at Don't Nod Montreal, something is brewing. Nice little tweet there. We had Celia, who is Don't Nod's influencer manager. She also tweeted, I'm translating this from Google, which is so excited to be able to tell you about the beautiful projects that are coming to Don't Nod. So we got 2 things that, and obviously there's Adam as well, quote tweeting me. What do you make of this news first? And whilst you do that, I'm going to quickly try and get my names up of who I think this person is, the third person in this photo.
So firstly, I always want to ask Michel Koch, so if he is actually watching this, are you a John Lennon fan? Because I see the spectacles and I'm like, he's got to be like the biggest John Lennon fan. That can't be by coincidence. I'm trying to think of anything else that would have those glasses. Maybe did Alan Watts have those glasses? Anyways,
Luke strikes me as a George Harrison.
Oh yeah, no, Luke is definitely George Harrison, Team George. But no, he's definitely Team John Lennon over there. Michelle, I would say, is George Harrison. I'm gonna say the person on the left, I'm gonna strike as a Ringo Starr fan. And Paul no one wants Paul anyway. So but I think
Well, I think people do want Paul, because I believe
people don't want Paul.
When John Lennon was once asked if Ringo Starr was the best drummer in the Beatles, was the best drummer in the world, was the best drummer in the world, he said he's not the best drummer in the Beatles. So
my God,
don't give me Ringo Starr is not the.
Yeah, a little bit of Beatles knowledge just drop on this. If you listen to Back in the USSR, that is not Ringo Starr drumming. That is John Lennon drumming, and Ringo Starr was so pissed because Ringo left the band, and they said like they can't do music without me, and John's like, yeah, we can. Jump on the drums, and one of the greatest drum lines in the entire Beatles categories. It's just like it's John Lennon on the drums.
I'm just a huge fan of that diss where it's like he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. It's like
he's not the best drummer. Oh, poor Pete Best. Anyways, what I make of this photo, other than Beatles lore, so there's a couple things that come into mind. One, this could mean that like this project VHS is so in early development that they're talking about ideas about this game to a Don't Nod person, right? Saying like, oh, this is what we envision, and there's like some lines to change. So we are way in early development on this game. There's one thing. The second thing that can come to mind is that, hey, these are like 3 other game concepts that we have. We have plenty of ideas. We're basically like Logic musician. Like he's got tracks that are just like buried in the chest somewhere. He's just waiting to pull them out. But it's probably like this. Like, hey, we got brand new ideas, and this is probably a meeting where it's almost like a kind of like a brainstorming session, right? Or we could have this game. Does this go in line with Don't Nod? We have also this game. Does that go in line with Don't Nod and what their vision is for the company, right? Doesn't mean if it's made or not, but like, does this fit into the aspect of the Don't Nod spiderweb, if you will? So there's a lot of exciting things. These two gents, these two gaffas, as you might say, they are long from retirement. So that's what I'm seeing from this picture.
Yeah, I think like this picture's a bit more left me wondering what's going to happen now, because I think this game is in much further development than I think it is, and I think like my superstitions have kind of been confirmed by that, because like, do you like when they make milestones or like progress in game, they seem to like tweet about it. And I think like when I was like researching, when I found out Life is Strange 1 had mocap, I was like looking it up. There was like some old tweets where like Michelle was like, oh, we've done a recording session, like, do you like mocap for like Life is Strange 1 and stuff? Just like, like a little update. So I feel like there was always that kind of thing. They've done that with this one where it's like Michelle's like, we're heading towards the booth. We're kind of like looking at this, like even with like Frederique coming in and be like, you know, we've got something exciting to work on. Like, don't know, kind of like just like little slither of things. Not like they're saying the game's going to be revealed here or then. It's just like they're kind of like being a bit more open about things. Like the last couple of years since Life is Strange 2, they've been quite quiet about what they've been working on. And since we've had the videotape kind of like reveal, they've kind of been a bit more active. So I think like that's kind of like telling for me about how far this project's coming along. In itself as well, like the little skull in the corner of the picture, if you see behind Michelle, the silver skull, which I believe is going to belong to Luc. Oh
yeah, look at that.
Screams Luc that. But right, so basically, I tried to suss out who this person is. Yeah, we have a nice gender balance at Don't Nod Montreal, so obviously we can cut a large proportion of people out there. So we're just focusing on who we know. If this person was on Twitter, Luc would have tagged them. So that in itself is representative of the fact that this person isn't on Twitter. Then on top of that, I went and looked at an old photo Luc posted of Montreal, and like a couple of people in there, like Marsha was there, obviously Michelle was there, a couple of people. It was more heavily dominated with women than the men at that point in that photo alone. I don't think I saw that person in that photo, not let alone that he tagged them. So again, we water down that possibility. So then I take my sleuthing to LinkedIn, and thankfully I haven't clicked on anyone's profile yet, so they haven't seen that I've viewed this. But I think, based on what I can see, and like just like their facially, and do you know what as well? It really blows my mind how someone could look so different, like just from based on one picture to like later on, just by doing something else. I have a funny feeling that this could either be Corentin Billemont, who is the senior game designer at Don't Nod Entertainment, and I would believe that would be in with Montreal. Because when I searched Don't Nod Montreal, he popped up, and he's got glasses, he's got a beard, a lot of hair in this photo on LinkedIn. But again, I think if he went for the shaved look, I think I'd pull it off there. Same with the shaved beard. It could be him. The other one, I was thinking it could be. Well, I don't think it is this person because they don't look alike. And the other one was Baptiste Moisan, who is the studio lead designer at Don't Nod Montreal. So I think whoever this person is, and hopefully I've got one of them there, if it was one of those people, it's going to be someone in a senior level position obviously in this creative meeting, because that's how the tweet has been worded as well. It's like, we're discussing cool new ideas with this. This seems like we're talking about almost like gameplay level. We're kind of moving into the actual game, and we're discussing mechanics and stuff. Because it's like, if otherwise we could suss out, because if it was to someone else who was on the writing team, the writer would be that. If it's like almost like, we're talking about creative ideas for the story or something else like that. I think this, for me, kind of like more kind of like shows on the reflection of that. I think this is talking about more systematically gameplay ideas or whatever else, something along those creative lines. That's what I got so far. And those are the two people I kind of like took away from all the pictures that I got on LinkedIn, where I was like, it could be one of them. Obviously, granted, my record has not been very effective in the past, has been proven, but I think it's one of them two. It's hard because like on like LinkedIn as well, like a lot of them just put Don't Nod Entertainment, like where they work, or Don't Nod. It's like, and then some of them have Don't Nod Montreal, like Michel and Luc have like Don't Nod Montreal, and like Marsha has like Don't Nod Montreal. It's like not all of them have Don't Nod Montreal in this. So it's like I'm thinking, and obviously there's so many people that work at Don't Nod as well, because they've got 6 games in development. They're big studio. So I have a funny feeling it's one of them two, and more so because it's on a creative like level. I think it's going to be something to do with gameplay or some kind of like mechanics or some level of kind of like aspect in that they're going to be focusing. I don't think it's a writer's room meeting. I think it would have been like almost like a stereotypical writer's room thing where it's like, a script is like lying on the table with like a pen over it or something, or it's like a long, like one of the square tables like in the room. I feel like this is kind of like, I think it's like working on the game, because I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, like how the picture's positioned as well behind them as the dev kit. And they're potentially like messing around with the game or something, because I think this game's far in development.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get a teaser trailer at the Game Awards?
No, but I think you'll get an announcement next year, and I think you might even get a release date and a release next year.
Ooh, I hope so. I've never been more excited for it. Here's the thing, and I hope Luc is listening to this episode. I don't know if he's dropped off or not. Luc, say hi to us. I don't know, but like I am legitimately not. I haven't been this excited to play a new game in a very long time, and that's including Ollie Ollie World, which I am screaming from the hilltops that you go play. Yeah. I've actually never been more excited to play a new game other than this new IP out of these two gaffers. I don't even know what a gaffer is. Yeah, what's a gaffer?
It's like gaffer, it's like a boss. Yeah, these call it these call Sir Alex Ferguson, the Manchester United manager, former Manchester manager, the gaffer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still learning British lingo. I'm still getting there. I know what it means to let and what a flat is. I'm
my god, there. That was like I was out on a run when you sent that, and I was like, "What is?" I was like, "Is he moving here? Is he doing? No. Like, what is he doing?" I was like, "Why do I question here?" I was like, "There's something going on." And I was like, then when you were telling me why you asked me what to let means, I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Geez, why are you watching? Why are you watching this?" It's like, "Oh my god,
step let's plus."
Anyway, I think this is the only game that I'm, except for anything that Kojima obviously produces. Obviously, seen his post with Ellie Fanning.
With Ellie Fanning,
like, which is quite interesting. I think I know what that game might be, but That's the only game that I'm excited for, and then this one. After that, I don't care. Like, even the new God of War, I'm going to pick it up. I'm not that excited for it. I'm excited for this.
I'm not thrilled about it, no.
Yeah, I'm as I said, like my fatigue has really settled in with video games, and like, I just want a core narrative-driven kind of game that's kind of pleasing, the same vein as like Life is Strange, etc. That's kind of like what I'm looking for. And this is what these guys are working on. They're working on an IP narrative game. Also, as well, on the replies of Luke's thing, as I was looking at, I was like, how many people keep saying, is it next Life is Strange game? It's like, it's not a Life is Strange game. It's not a Life is Strange game. Like, come on, guys. Not. Like, I also saw Day say, if you need someone, give me a shout. And that would be quite funny if they took her up on that.
Yeah, right?
No, but like, honestly, like...
Oh, go for it.
No, honestly, like, I'm really excited for this because I think that the game window is going to be next year. Because, like, my belief on that is, like, Don't Nod. I was thinking about, because we really... Was it the last episode or the episode before? Where we really like broke into Don't Nod's fundamentals, like with Oscar Gilbert and Sophie Philippe doing that interview. Like, Don't Nod has 6 games in development, all self-published, as we learn. And it's like, they are a publicly listed company on the stock market and stuff. They're attracting investors, which obviously includes like Tencent, which, like, you know, I'd be very critical of that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they look for a bigger stake in it, because, like, you know, Tencent, Saudi Arabia, all these places are, you know, looking at the video game industry with very, you know, alarming eyes, in my opinion. But they are a publicly listed company. Like, their fiscal report will come out, the annual earnings that do. What has Don't Nod really done except for publish games recently? Like, the last major release of a video game from them was Twin Mirror.
Yes. Well, I mean, other than Gerda, yes.
Published by, like, developed and published by...
developed
by
and published,
yeah.
Yeah, no,
like,
Twin Mirror was the last one.
Yeah, it's like developed in-house, because, like, obviously last year the earnings came out and they had Tell Me Why in it, they had Twin Mirror, like, Tell Me Why is going to be a Microsoft property now, so, like, I don't think, even when we were talking about Tell Me Why 2, that's kind of been ruled out now, because we're saying, like, all those way. Yeah, we were talking about all those logos, and they're like, "Oh, it could be Tell Me Why too." We're like, well, "This could be Tell Me Why. This could be Tell Me Why." Like, I don't think that's a possibility now, because obviously these games are self-published, and obviously I imagine that Microsoft owns the IP for Tell Me Why because they published the game. Unless Don't Nod struck a deal with them and kept the IP, I don't know, but like, it'll be very unlikely in this situation. But like, obviously since then as well, Twin Mirror, we got Twin Mirror's fiscal report in this year as well. Like, we found out they didn't sell it as well as they expected to and stuff. But other than that, and as a publicly listed company, like, what is Don't Nod really going to report in its fiscal earnings for the remainder of this year? It's like, it's going to have to be on Gerda. I'm cautiously optimistic that Gerda has sold well, because I don't think it's a big budget game. I think they did enough promoting behind it.
You can't even do the Arcadia Bay collection, because that's not really a Don't Nod property. That's Deck 9. Which is crazy. But
I wonder if they get royalties from Life is Strange 1 being in it.
Maybe. It's possible, because Don't Nod is credited. So it is, I don't know. I don't know the actual deals of it going around, but I would imagine there has to be royalties like involved.
Yeah.
There's no way they just kind of like sign it over. Yeah,
because they don't want the IP, and obviously we've obviously read when we read Sophie Philippe and Oscar Gilbert's interview where they were like carefully phrasing how they felt about Square Enix, but like, you know, that's because it's interesting, because it's like, I feel like I would love to hear what they're saying, because it's like, they're not going to rip on the company, but they're going to explain why they didn't really feel comfortable with the publisher developer relationship. But like, aside from that, maybe the royalties that come in from like Life is Strange Arcadia Bay collection, if there is any that come from it, because obviously Square Enix owns the IP, there's not much to show this year. I feel like that's where, like, for me, like, and also like on a factor as well, like, as I said, like a publicly listed company as Don't Nod is, it's put a lot into growth. So it's spending revenue, and it's spending revenue, and it's spending revenue in terms of like, we're talking about Italian games going to be publishing, and they're not major league games as we spoke about, but they're building, and it's like they're building a marketing department, they're building this, they're building that, and your growth is coming in, but then your revenue is going to come down, because with growth comes revenue, comes down with it. So it's like with them, I feel like the 6-game timeline that they have that runs up to whatever it is there's going to be games that will be coming out next year, and they're going to have to get that out there, so it kind of like improves their fiscal position as well, because like obviously this game would be hugely fiscally important for them. It will sell as well. There's a lot with it. I think obviously it's a big job on the marketing. And also, like, this isn't instant guaranteed as well. Like, I love these two men. I really do. But it's like there's no guarantee that the game will be a huge sleeper hit, Life is Strange-esque vibe with it, because it's like that in itself as well. Life is Strange 1, and I was only thinking about this only a couple of weeks ago, benefited from the fact of YouTubers. Because I remember when Jack Skepticeye played it and like other people played it, the profile for Life is Strange, PewDiePie played it. When they played it, Life is Strange 1 became more mainstream. Before that, a very little chatter with it. So there was big influence from those YouTubers. So it's like, I don't know if they'll be able to get that from this game. Who knows? They probably will get
that from us, big YouTube podcasters.
Yeah, well, they're always getting free publicity from us as well. Like, it's been our better part of a year, and obviously we barely attract anyone. But I follow their work as I have done for the better part of 7 years. I know I was appreciative. As I said, I'm very excited for this game. So I think this game is further ahead in development than we think it is. I think because of and it's just like weighing in factors that we've heard and all the Don't Nod news that we've covered, and also the way that they're tweeting about stuff and everything else. I don't think the game's going to be huge. It's going to be on a Life is Strange 1 budget or 2 budget, maybe less.
Right.
And it's going to be like a very streamlined kind of core narrative game, which kind of has that same kind of feeling of playing Life is Strange 1. So you're not going to be doing, well, you might not necessarily be doing like full body motion capture. You might not necessarily be doing having drafting in Chris Pratt to play the main character. You might not have you won't have to break the bank essentially. And I don't think Don't Nod can do that as well. There's too many risks in itself as well. And this is kind of like my other point to make is like Don't Nod's a company that's learned from its mistakes, and it took an early mistake very early on, especially with Remember Me. And I say a mistake in the sense that it financially bombed for Capcom. And as I said, like Capcom's a very hard publisher to work with in terms of if games don't succeed well financially, then it's like, it's going to hit. And they really took a blow with that, and it really hit them as well. And it was like a big recovery from Life is Strange that kind of put them where they are right now. So it's like they're going to be very weighted with it. They're not going to just be like, here's the largest proportion of our budget, Luc, Michel, go and make this game. It's going to be like their game's going to be more concentrated. It's probably going to have like, what's the last count? I think it's like almost coming up to 40 people that work at Montreal. Then they've probably got freelancers in there as well. Yeah. Maybe a 60 person team that works on this game.
If they need, if they still need a sound designer or maybe
they can't
just
afford
a
your rate,
chef, they can afford my rate. I'll work for free. I'll take an internship. It's like, just don't tell my wife I took it. I'll be like, no, honey, I'm taking in a good amount of money. Don't worry about it. It's not for free.
Speaking of that music party, I do wonder who's composing this game. That'll be interesting.
I wonder that too. I hope it's Jim Alexander. It probably won't be. No. I have zero guesses of who this might be composed by. If they still need somebody, just let me know. I don't know. I have zero guesses. I'm hoping Andrew Bell might be involved in some way or some other, but I don't know. I don't think Andrew Bell would do it.
Because obviously, last two games have been Jonathan Morelli from Sid Matters. And it's like, I just don't know who's going to do this one. I don't know if it's Jonathan Morelli again, but I don't think it will be. I think it'll be someone different. I wouldn't be complaining if it was Sid Matters, but I would not be complaining at all. But like, I don't know. Like, it's definitely a mystery. I like that about Life is Strange music, that you can't really guess like who's going to be composing it. It's definitely like someone you've either slept on, you never heard of, or somebody is in the backlog of your category. It's something that's someone who's unique is what I'm saying. Not someone who's just like, oh, who's this nobody? But someone's just like, oh, that's a surprising cool. Like I would have never guessed Daughter was going to compose Before the Storm. Like such a sleeper band, like such a great casting. Such a great.
And that's what I mean. Like that's what I like about these kinds of games that they develop is that like you can't really guess of who's going to compose it. You're always surprised. But But if you want a personal chef, just let me know. I don't know.
Can you cook vegan food?
Yeah, that's the place I work at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a
Oh.
vegan friendly kind of place. Yeah.
Oh,
The place.
you and Luke would get on very well.
Oh yeah, no. Like I love, I make a lot of vegan meals at home too. So mostly rice based. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah, that paella looked very vegan. I'll say that.
Oh no, the paella. No, the paella was definitely not vegan. It's definitely not. No, you can make paella vegan. Totally. Can I talk a little bit about paella? A little bit. I'll give you 15 seconds. Okay. Paella, fantastic dish. You should go about it. It's a very much a farmer's dish, and the originalities of it was in Spain, in Valencia. Farmers used to gather around the entire pot, make something that was around the farm, and just gather together and just share a meal after a hard day's work. But paella, you should definitely give it a go. Try a recipe. It's a fantastic dish. You can totally make it vegan. Totally. Like the proteins are your choice. But all right, done.
I think we will end this topic segment here.
Yes.
I think we'll hear more about this game in the next coming year. And I think obviously it's time to be excited for what happens. I think you'll probably suss out more things from what this game is like, and find out, learn a lot of stuff more. I think they're obviously very careful about what they tweet and stuff like that.
And I'm thankful for that, for sure. I'm definitely thankful that they're not giving away too much.
Yeah, and as I said, I think it's like a worst nightmare for developers. I hope this game doesn't get leaked. I'm just excited to see what we see, and when we hear it, I have no rush to get it as soon as possible. Whenever it comes, I'm more than happy and content to see that. As I said, this will be a day one buy for me.
Yes,
very few games I'll ever say that it's a day one buy to me. This is a day one buy for me. I've
always
no matter what the reviews say. I'm sold on it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm forever a fan of these two people. I can't wait to play this game, and I hope it does come out next year, but I won't be sad if it doesn't come out this year. Or next year, I should say. Sorry, next year. But we'll see. I don't know.
Indeed. Yeah. Okay, so we will move into our next piece of news, and we're sticking with Don't Nod Montreal. So our next piece of news might be a shorter one, but we're going to the MEGAMIGS Twitter page, which announced that our guest of honor, translate this through Google, it's in French, our guest of honor will kick off the conference component of the program on 19th and the 20th October. These industry veterans will ignite you while providing fresh perspectives on the hot topics. And the actual banner says Don't Nod, 19th, 22nd of October. They're doing 20th of October. It's Don't Nod, the story of DNA. And joining them on there is Frederique, the managing director of Don't Nod Montreal. Then we got Luc as well, studio executive producer. Studio executive producer, Don't Nod Montreal. I was reading the French one then for a minute. I was like, why is it in different order? Studio executive producer, Don't Nod Montreal. And obviously Michel, the studio creative director of Don't Nod Montreal. All three are appearing at that event. I will try and keep a close eye on that event. Obviously, I imagine it's going to be, they will probably be speaking in French, at which point I'll be limited to see what I say. But so in itself, I quickly looked online, and there's a blurb from 2021 from this event, which is, it says MEGAMIGS is an unmissable event in Canada dedicated to the video game industry and has been for over 15 years. The 2021 edition that took place virtually. So I think this one might be a public, could potentially be a public one after COVID and stuff. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because, as I said, there's little waves. As I said, when you see them tweeting about things, you see them appearing. It's less, they're less cryptic with everything now. Since we have the videotape, it's here's one thing, and here's another thing, and here's another thing that they're going to do. And as I said, I imagine that this conference will be done in French on the stage. Because I know that Luc and Michel both speak French, and they can speak English, and I'm pretty sure that Frederique speaks French as well.
Oui.
And
that's
the limitation. That's the limitation of my French. To be honest.
Ratatouille. Which I have made ratatouille before, which is also vegan. Yes.
Yeah. I hope this is it would be cool if it was in English, because I watched the entire thing, but I have a funny feeling it's going to be in French. So,
yeah, no, it's going to be in French. Because the entire event, I'm looking at their Twitter page right now, and it's just everything is in French. Now, where is this taking place? Is what I'm wondering. Is this Montreal or I don't know.
Definitely in Canada.
Oh yeah, no, it is Montreal. Yes, so it is taking place in Montreal. Montreal, of course, is a huge French city. There's a Canadian French, but so I'm imagining all this is going to be in French. But from what I'm imagining, from what I've seen about this conference, this is very much a developer focused conference, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And I imagine if they're going to be opening up, I'm sure they're going to be talking about, going through the trials and the errors. I'm sure they're going to talk about Remember Me, and the battles about that.
That's their topic there. It says a story of DNA.
Yes. So I would say, yeah, like it's just talking about like you porting your own spin on a game. And that's what I appreciate about all this team here. They're not really caring about like none of this team really cares about the industry standards. They care about their own standards. They care about their own vision. They care about making Don't Nod Montreal. Like when you play a Don't Nod Montreal game, it's a Don't Nod Montreal game. They're not talking about a Bethesda game or a Rockstar game. Don't Nod Montreal, that's our core. So I'm excited to see this. Do I speak French? I don't even know the French word for no. It's like I don't even know. Hold on. No. Oh, it's just no in English.
No.
Really? It's just no? Wait, seriously? It's just no. None. Oh, there we go. None. N-O-N. But yeah, no, so I don't know. Very excited for this.
Yeah, I'm this is just this screams like obviously like a GDC equivalent of Canada kind of thing, where, as you said, like it's heavily dominated by developers, and it'll be insightful. I mean, like as I said, I'd love to be able to speak French right now. It made me definitely I'd tune into something like this. I think they're always quite interesting. I know Deck 9 did them with like Zach Garris and other developers from Deck 9, so it's kind of like always interesting to hear their perspectives about the writing and everything else in between it, and it's just kind of good to see that insight. Obviously, I doubt they're going to talk about that new game. They'll probably allude to it, but I think like it'll be interesting. But it's a nice balance as well, and it's like we're having Frederique there. It's like you'll get an idea of like why this team's working the way that it is, and like the kind of recruitment process of kind of like getting what the DNA of Life is Strange is kind of like, or like DNA of what Don't Nod is actually. Sorry, that was a better way of putting it. So yeah, that's one to tune in if you are French and you can listen to it. I think definitely tune in for it. I might put it on and try and like nod along and see that I can actually understand French. But
oh yeah,
so
croissant.
We will move on.
Yes.
Onto our next piece of news. So we'll actually go on to Life is Strange here now. So this was a late one I picked up, which is from then Emma Vieceli, the Life is Strange comic book writer. She tweeted saying, "What an absolutely lovely surprise! Had some posts to pick up from our older address and eat. Can't thank IAMTW enough for my lovely Scribe Award. I'm holding it oddly because, folks, it's heavy. Haha, it's lovely and will sit proudly in my nerd cave studio, which does look good." And she put, you can read it better in this one. Haha, seriously, lovely thing to receive and a total honor. Thank you to the IAMTW. I don't know what the abbreviation stands for, but and everyone who helped make and who read the Life is Strange comic. So I went onto the actual website, or a website actually, sorry, for the 2022 Scribe Awards nominees. So Emma Vieceli took the award home for graphic novel Life is Strange Coming Home. She was up against Missy the Master Plan, a Doctor Who comic graphic novel by Jodie Hauser, and Star Wars Darth Vader Volume 2 Into the Fire by Greg Pak.
I know about that one, about the Star Wars Darth Vader Volume 2. I know about that one. And that was, that was deemed a very well-established novel. And to go against that was definitely like amazing on her part, that she was able to take it home with the Life is Strange Coming Home. So I don't know about Missy the Master Plan. I don't know anything about that. But yeah, to go against Darth Vader Into the Fire, that's a feat of accomplishment.
Yeah, I think it's generally a good accomplishment anyway, because of the two franchises she's up against, Doctor Who and Star Wars, bigger followings than Life is Strange. Like,
right?
That's a huge kind of accomplishment to work on that as well. And I've had that chance to speak to Emma Vieceli. I think she's wonderful. She's so so great to talk to. And I genuinely need to catch up to the comics. Like, obviously, I've had things happening the last couple of months which I haven't been able to follow. But I read the first 3 volumes, and I've got the other 2, and I need to buy the 6th one. We will be covering them on StrangeCast, obviously delayed, but I think Adam said he'll pick him up, and then we'll kind of like dig through them a bit more.
Yeah,
I think it's probably the more new material we can really talk about as well, on top of like things that have happened.
I discuss it almost like a book club kind of setting. So if you, the listener or the viewer, want to read along with us, we can like do a little sit down book club. Yeah,
that could be a good idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to give her a shout out because like I saw it late and I wanted to get it on here because I thought like, Life is Strange comics has divided people. I know some people don't like it, some people love them. I really enjoyed them for where I'm up to. I think it was and she's a fan of the series, Emma Vieceli. Emma Vieceli's played all the games, like, she's been involved, she's like loved Life is Strange games, like, and it's interesting because obviously like her when we talked on that interview, like, she's talking about her original pitch, and it was very different from what she actually wrote at the end. More so from like the publisher and kind of like Titan's perspective, but it was like interesting, like the way that she told a story, which I feel like you could even commission her original idea for like Life is Strange comic series. I think like it's so cool about the like kind of exploring the origins of the Vortex Club and stuff like that. There's so much cool stuff to focus on it, but I think like for me, she handles it really well because it's like, as I said, like we've talked about it before, and I think you talked about with your album, like when you put 3 people in the main role, it's kind of like 3 is a lot of people to handle with. Like, when it's 2, it's the 2 character dynamic has always worked a lot better for the games that I've like followed, the games that I've played, the films I've watched, the TV shows. Like in itself, like very few kind of like can like really flesh out stories with like multiple like main characters, supporting characters. Obviously, like the main show that comes to my mind is like Lost. Great way of doing it, but like with her, especially with the 3 characters that she had, like she had so much room to like kind of play around with. She had like source material from like Don't Nod with Max and Chloe, but then you're kind of going into uncharted territory with like Rachel and Max being in a room because you're like, what the hell do I do here? And like those are some of the most fascinating scenes where I think like there's one where it's like just Rachel and Max, and they're like shopping or something, and they're just talking. It's like blowing my mind a little bit. It's like this is like the things that like fanfic writers like dream of, like just kind of like messing around with when like a developer makes a universe and has all these characters. So as I said, like I enjoyed the comics up to where I'm up to so far. I really want to catch up with them, so I will try and get to them this year. But I just wanted to give her a shout out because, and I think it's a well-deserved award, if anything, as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, good for her. I'm very happy for her, and I hope she continues to expand her writing career from here.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Andrea and Claudia as well for the artwork and the coloring, because it's insane, man. Those covers that Claudia has done, the special edition ones for like Life is Strange comics. Oh my god, her art is beautiful. It's so beautiful. Right. So that's our news segment.
Okay,
we're going to move into our main topic, which is, here we go again. So we're going to Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection is out. This is essentially an episode which is going to probably be labeled about Adam reviewing it. I haven't played it. I don't own a Switch anymore, so I can't really give perspective on it. And Adam's kind of been feeding me constant messages since he's got it, and kind of like what he's seen differently from the remastered collection that we've played. You've only played Life is Strange 1 so far, not played BTS. Obviously, Life is...
I played episode 1 of BTS.
Right. So for transparency, we got the first game played through. We've got episode 1 of BTS being played through. So I will kind of like let you have more of the floor on this conversation. I mean, this is more of your main topic, but it's interesting because you get feeding me a lot of things, and then like I've seen very mixed reviews about things as well.
With what I was actually going to do is like I want to open up the floor to any questions from you, like about like what I've played, and like go from there.
So let me kick you off with this. So I decided before we came on here to go back to my old stomping ground, Hardcore Gamer, where they've reviewed Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection. Oh, so this was by so they actually reviewed it. I didn't think that I was the one who was basically writing all the Life is Strange stuff when I was there, more or less. So this was from Jeremy Peoples, and he wrote. Let me just read the conclusion first, and I'll give you what score he wrote. It's an interesting review because obviously, as I said, I wrote all the life, pretty much majority of the Life is Strange reviews for this place. This was like when I was in the industry and stuff. So he put in the closing comments, at the end of the day, it's tough to recommend Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection as it is near launch. It's easily the worst possible way to experience two classic games and not in small ways. The dramatic drop-off in texture quality and abundance of texture pop-ins hurt the experience, as do long loading times. The foundation of what the game's so great is still present, but hampered. In hindsight, having it titled Arcadia Bay Collection was a tip-off that this wouldn't be the exact as the remastered collections that hit other consoles. This is a downgraded version of the experience in every way except voice acting, and should only be played by those who must have it available on the go. And he gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
I'm going to have to massively disagree with this gentleman right here. I'm going to have to, yeah, I'm going to disagree with this gent. First off, I will agree that the loading times on this, and I showed this to Adnan, that the loading times were a little bit unreasonable. They were at least 50 seconds long. Yeah, and I did give you a little feet shot. I showed you my tootsies in that video. Did you appreciate the feet shot?
I got them on OnlyFans already, so yeah, awesome. I'm making money from them.
Damn it. Anyways, but a little bit of royalties would be nice. But I will say the loading times were pretty bad. So I'm just going to be talking mainly for Life is Strange 1. Because, again, my week was a little bit hectic. I tried to play more Before the Storm. Life got in the way. Life is strange in that way. So, but I will say this. By episode 4 and 5, the loading times were actually a little bit better. I don't know if it was because I was used to long loading times, but I don't think the loading times were that bad in the later episodes. It was from really episode 1 and episode 2 that I started to see really bad loading times. They were pretty frustrating, but coming to the end of ones, the loading times improved. And when I played Before the Storm, also the loading times, not too terrible. Not terrible. But in all actuality, we've come as a society of gamers to expect like really quick loading times. Bop, bop, bop. But we also forget that the Nintendo Switch came out in the same time as the Xbox One did. Like, it's not next gen. Especially me, I played on Nintendo Switch Lite. Okay, so I didn't play on OLED, which has, better processing units in it. I played on a Switch Lite that has the same hardware as the Nintendo Switch was already underpowered to begin with in the previous gen consoles. So I think we start to forget that. So I will agree that the loading times were bad, but not 2.5 bad. I will disagree also with the dramatic drop-off in texture quality and abundance of texture pop-ins hurts the experience. I don't like how it says hurts the experience, because here's the thing. Again, we're talking about a portable console here. We're talking about a portable console. We're talking about we're talking about an experience where you can take Life is Strange on the go. What do we know about the history of handheld versions of games? They're not always going to be the best. Okay, it's just the greatness that you can play it on the go, right? Like, take for example Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on the Game Boy Advance, or the Game Boy Color, right? I should say. Not the best experience. It sucked. It sucked on the Game Boy, but it was awesome that you played Tony Hawk on their Game Boy. It was great, but Adnan, I gave you pictures of the textures, and they weren't terrible. They were just it's the Switch version. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but let me counteract that as well in between things. Yeah. It's I looked at what you were showing me, and it didn't look that much better than the PS3 version that I could have played on, or the PS4 version of it, or the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One version. I don't think it looked that unbelievable. Obviously, the main thing you'd notice would be the facial capture changes that happened. I think that's the problem with me, not owning a Switch, for example. I basically got turned off Nintendo games because I'm someone who likes visually, aesthetically great looking games. That doesn't mean it defines a great game, but I feel like Nintendo has lagged so far behind it that even the Switch, for example, like holding that now compared to, like, for example, I haven't bought one yet, but like a Steam Deck, for example.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like, it feels like it's so far behind a little bit. It's like, and even like the new Pokemon game, it's like so choppy, some of the graphics and trailers are shot. I'm like, it's like, come on, it's like
Which I will agree that a lot of people, that's the complaints about the Nintendo Switch. But we also have to keep in mind that some people are only Switch players. Like, they don't have the PS5. Some people don't really care about graphical fidelity. Some people don't care about that. Just in the same way that, Adnan, me and you have differences in appreciating art. You know, you like a more logical based, a kind of more of like in the Star Trek realm where things have to make sense. Whereas I'm more about vibe. I'm more about like, what does this feeling give me? You know, same way with gamers. Some people just want that experience on the Switch where they can just play it on the go, plug it into the TV, kind of like a casual sort of feel for a game. And I think this is what Life is Strange Arcadia Bay is about. You know, it's not really about the fidelity. It's not about the textures, which, yes, the textures are a drop-off. If you're in for the textures, get ready for a texture drop-off. There's even some effects, right? There's some blurring effects that happen in a remastered collection that isn't in the Arcadia Bay collection, right? So some of those textures, some of those features will not be on the Switch version. But if you are a Switch player, if you don't care about fidelity, if you always wanted to play these Life is Strange games and you've only owned a Switch, it's there for you, baby. It's on. And the best part is it works. It works. Like, it actually works. It functions, you know? And I think that's the beauty part. We're talking about a 2.5, like 2 out of 5 rating. Or 2.5. Sorry, it's a 2.5, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I think it's a little bit unreasonable to give it a 2.5.
So
I will, yeah.
No, to add on to that, like, obviously that's just his closing comment. So like, there's different things that can be mentioned in the reviews and stuff. I pulled up Metacritic.
Sure.
And like, Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection has got 9 critic review scores, which is telling as well that like not many places have picked this game up yet.
Oh yeah, a little side story for all the listeners. I tried to pick this up physical. I did. Apparently, a lot of people tried to pick it up physical. Everybody tried. Nobody was ordering it into their brick and mortar stores. I tried to pre-order it, and the place I went to said like, "Oh yeah, so we're not. It's going to be a late shipment. It's not going to come here day of. Even if you pre-order it, it's not going to come here day of." So I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered Pokemon Scarlet instead.
Yeah.
So I got that.
You're not the only person that was like that. But
yeah, no. There's a lot of people who said that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like I think they should just released it digitally only at this point because it's like
I got it digital.
I've already frowned upon the fact that before Song remastered it's a digital code. So as I said, the value gets slashed with it the minute you bought it. As soon as you read that code, it's like it's gone. But anyway,
yes,
we're on Metacritic as 68 score it's got based on 9 reviewers.
Sure.
So it's only got 2 positives, 7 mixed. Obviously, Metacritic pulls in all kinds of sites, like literally some I've never even heard of. But so the only positives it's got is from Gamers RD and Pocket Tactics, which gave it a 90 score. Mm-hmm. So it gave it a 90 score, 9 out of 10 essentially. Multiplayer it, level up. And Multiplayer it gave it a 70, level up gave it a 65. This is on the scale at Metacritic's.
Nintendo Life gave it a 50. Wow.
God is a Geek gave it a 60. Game Trend gave it a 60. But why though? It gave it 55. Hardcore Gamer gave it 50. It's the second to bottom review, and so did Nintendo Life. Nintendo Life put a 50 score. Life is Strange Arcadia Bay Collection is an odd release in that it doesn't really feel like games that have been remastered at all. Certain aspects of the presentation have been improved, such as lip syncing and overall color tone. But at the same time, you've got pretty unforgivable presentation drawbacks like texture and asset popping, muddy environmental issues, and absurdly long load times.
Yeah, the load times were a little bit horrendous.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry.
Oh, No, I like that's the thing. The load times were pretty awful. I will say that. Maybe I got used to them. I don't know, because I'm generally a pretty patient person when it comes to that. Because again, the Switch is very underpowered. It doesn't have the hardware of next gen. And I see on Nintendo Life, like, doesn't really feel like a remastered release. Have you played the first Life is Strange game? It's but it feels.
I think
yeah.
On top of that, I'm just finishing off what to say, because I think the next sentence was damning before everything else was. Considering how long it's taken for this collection to arrive on Switch, we honestly expected better. Nevertheless, these games are worth experience for the narrative alone. So if you've played either and you have no way to access them, this still comes with a light recommendation.
Oh, yeah, no,
that.
I will agree with that point. If you've played these games before, should you buy this on the Switch? It depends what you want out of this game. Because, again, I think here's my opinion of this. Is that, like, I think it depends what you want. Do you want Life is Strange on the go? Do you want it on the Switch? It's there. It works. Like, I didn't really feel any bugginess. Because, again, look at all these ending results. Load times are bad. Textures are a little bit wonky, or they're downgraded. Nowhere does it say that it's unplayable. No. Nowhere does it say where, like, when this game first released on the Xbox and the PS5, holy cow, this game was just damning. Like, you could not play this game because the sound bites would be off. Like, they would not arrive. There's T-posing. The captions didn't work. The freaking captions didn't work. So it's like, none of them are saying it's not playable. And one person who said, like, it's terrible how long it took for this game to come out. It's because they had to patch everything. Like, they didn't play the remastered collection when it first came out, and it was just a boogie mess.
The counter argument would be, is like, you can play it on the go. But then what's stopping you from getting Life is Strange 1, for example, on Steam Deck and then playing it on the go?
Yeah, there's nothing stopping you from that, but, like, not everybody has a Steam Deck right now.
What's stopping you from playing Life is Strange 1 on iPad or iPhone? Because you can download it, because I have it as well. I reviewed it. It worked really well.
And that's what I mean.
That's the original game as well.
That's what I mean. Like, I think this is for this collection is for somebody who has not experienced this and has a Switch. I think that's who I would recommend it to. If you have an iPad, if that's the way you game, get it on that. If you have a Steam Deck, you know what? I wouldn't even recommend the remaster collection on the Steam Deck, because
I think, because, sorry to interrupt, but, like, in that, I think it's really, that one comment in the Hardcore Game Review really hit me, which was, in hindsight, having it titled as the Arcadia Bay Collection was a tip-off that this wouldn't be the exact same as the remastered collections that hit other consoles. And the remastered collections aren't even a benchmark either. Because, like, we sat here and, like, tore into those beyond anything else belief. And it's like, we don't hate them, but it's like, as I said before, like, it's this game, the Arcadia Bay Collection, should just wait until its 10th anniversary and then dropped. Like, why? That, for me, makes so much sense. You could have you properly remastered the games. Like, this is where my cutthroat kind of, like, attitude to the industry comes. Cause it's like you're trying to remake Horizon or remaster it. It's like, why wait 15 years, wait 20 years? If you want to cash opportunity in, like, some of these games, go back a couple of years and do it. And it's like, this doesn't set the benchmark for things like if you wanted to remake Life is Strange 1, which I did say in another episode, and I said this before, I was like, nothing is sacred. And as I showed with the Horizon news that came out recently with them remastering stuff, nothing is sacred. So don't worry, that game will get remade by Square Enix. I'll promise you that right now.
Yeah.
As much as I don't want it to, it will get remade. But, like, when you were showing me things, I was watching it, and I was just like, because, like, there were improvements when you were showing me, like, it
like,
didn't
the
have
lighting, I thought, was pretty improved.
Yeah, like, it was nowhere near, like, buggy by any perception. You were sending me certain things. It looks like they I'll come on to that actually in a minute. It's the Max scene, crying. We'll come on to that actually, because that was very interesting. You noticed that. Like, it looked a bit more consistent, but then I was, like, looking at it, and, as I said before, I was looking at the Switch graphics. I was like, I was like, it's just not. It's like almost like a PS4 version of this, or even it looked like a diluted version of the PS4 Xbox One version, but with tweaks that enhanced it in terms of what was enhancing the remastered collection, and then with also lip syncing. So it wasn't like visually like I was like, oh, this is actually really gorgeous. I'm walking around this game and like playing it. Obviously, we've spoken about it before. The Switch isn't a powerful machine, but I think that's like Achilles' heel for the Switch as well. It needs to be a more powerful machine at this point.
Yeah.
And that's, and I say that as indicative about how the Pokemon games run at this point. Pokemon should be like a fully fledged MMO RPG right now, where it's like it could be making them billions and billions of more dollars. If it was in the same vein as like a Warcraft right now, which I'm genuinely surprised that they're kind of only getting to this like open world thing with Pokemon, like truly open world, what they did with Pokemon Arceus. That should have happened like 10 years ago in the same vein as MMO expansion. Can you imagine how many subscriptions they would have if you could go online on a PC and play Pokemon in that kind of like same vein as a Warcraft or Final Fantasy?
Well, like legit, that's what they're doing with Skate. Like it's not going to be Skate 4. It's going to be Skate, and it's going to be like an open world MMO kind of
live game. Bro, that's what most publishers are kind of like. Look, I think they're doing that. I think was it Resident Evil 7? They think about potentially making like a live game or something. Because like,
no. I think that was wasn't that Revelations? They were going to make a live service game.
I think it might have been both actually. I'm pretty sure they tried to do it. I think they were trying to like, mess around with, but it's like that's like what they're trying. That's what you kind of need to do. Like you need to hook people. This like I just don't know if someone came up to me and said I've not played it, but based on what you were sending me, what I was looking at, I was kind of like, you know, there's not a huge like. Talk to me about performance. Like, did it like obviously the frame rate is not going to be 60 frames per second, but like, how did it run frame rate wise, and especially during like
frame
the kind
rate
of like
was
heavy gameplay scenes or gameplay
Here's the thing. Something funny about that. So when I played Before the Storm, specifically the train scene where they're sitting on the train, okay, and they're talking. If you look outside the train. Right, and I tried to send this to you, but like I just couldn't record from my phone and all that. But if you look outside the train, frame rate was great. But if you look inside the train, it was a little bit stagnant. But let's put it this way: if I had to guess, right? You look outside the train, it's at like 30 to 40 FPS. You look inside the train, it's about like 25. 20 to 25. It's not like a huge dip. Right? It's not a huge dip, but it's definitely like noticeable. It's there. But like as I'm playing this game, I'm not thinking like, oh man, this game is chugging. I've played Switch titles that chug, dude. They chug. Doom on the Switch compared to what it should be, right? Which is very fast paced. It feels like it chugs, in my opinion. Never did I play whilst I was playing Life is Strange 1. Did I say to Liz while I was playing, like, oh my God, this thing is chugging, dude? Because they had to downgrade some features. They took away some visuals so that it doesn't chug. And that's the thing. I think it's more important after playing the remastered collection and how awful of a release that was. I think it's more important that this game actually functions as a video game rather than sparkle you with the visuals. And I think it accomplishes that. I don't think it's very chuggy. I don't think the FPS is too bad. It's definitely 30 FPS. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely 30. But I don't know. It was fine. It was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes some interesting points there. I just think like there's like a lingering bad taste, I think, with Square Enix with the way they handled this remastered collection. I would say like people with, when it comes to this channel, like I have less than 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Yeah. I ain't making any sponsorship deals here or promoting anything. I don't get paid to tell anything from a publisher. I give you unfiltered opinions of what I think. I'm not sitting here expecting anyone from Square Enix to send me anything, or even like Don't Nod to kind of like get us involved in a new game. I give opinions, and I think like that's what I hope people come to this channel and value more. Because it's like, as much as I love Don't Nod, for example, you saw how I reacted towards the Tencent thing. And same thing with like True Colors. I have a lot of affiliation with the actors on it, the devs and stuff like that. I don't go scathing personal attacks on them or anything, but I am critical of things. So I feel like it's an honest assessment and stuff like that. And it's same with like the Arcadia Bay collection and the remaster collection. It's like me giving my opinions is to kind of like be direct and kind of give some hopefully insightful kind of like observations or critiques or something. So it's never in that vein. So it's like with me, like the way that Square Enix has dealt with this fiasco in the midst of True Colors has like left a really sour taste in my mouth, and I think for a lot of other fans of the series, because like you won't see a Life is Strange 2 remastered. They will eradicate that game out of existence. If they make one in the next 5 years, I will come back on here and I will like be shocked, flabbergasted that even happens, because like
they're ignoring that game for sure.
Yeah, they've done everything they can to kind of like just not give that game as much attention as it should do. They give it once, twice the attention. I think like it was a divisive entry in the franchise, but it was also probably it was a great game as well, and potentially the best as well. There's arguments made that Life is Strange 2 is better than Life is Strange 1. Just putting that out there, but like that's why I feel
I'll hold my opinions till the episode. Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's next episode for absolutely certain.
Yeah,
but like. I just think like they've left like a lot of sour taste in people. Now I don't know how long like Life is Strange will go on for. I think the IP will eventually get shelved, and then I have to question what I do with this channel as well. But like I think it will get shelved because I don't think it's got a longevity with it. It's a tough pill. It's a tough selling point now as well. I think it's like losing its kind of like mainstream appeal that it had. I don't know what the sales numbers were like for True Colors, but for me that went way too mainstream in terms of the purse. I saw people playing it. It's like, oh, I love Life is Strange. True Colors is so great, and this was like. You didn't even play the first two. Are you the core?
Now you know how I felt
as a franchise.
Now you know how I felt as an Assassin's Creed fan. We're like, oh my god, Odyssey is the best Assassin's Creed. I'm like, you haven't played any of Assassin's Creed. Why are you saying that this is the best Assassin's Creed? You've never played Assassin's Creed 1.
I've seen.
Yeah.
No, I love Assassin's Creed. I love the original Assassin's Creed. I played all the way up to. Is Odyssey the Egyptian one?
No, Origins, which was I loved Origins.
I hated that.
Odyssey was I think Origins took a step in the right direction. I'm like, okay, I see where you're going. This is okay. Then Odyssey came out. I was like, oh, okay, no, yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah. So like, I'm up to that point. I played all the others, and it's like I love the simplicity of some of the earlier ones, and like Black Flag for me is my personal favorite. Followed by Brotherhood and the first Life is Strange.
Okay, you're on the right track. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. No, I feel like my favorite ones. But it'd be Black Flag, Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed 1, Assassin's Creed 2.
Okay.
Then the list gets a bit bleak at this point. What's the other one now?
I think you enjoyed
Creed
3 a little bit. Yeah.
Here's the thing about
a little bit about Assassin's Creed 3 where they're like, oh man, Connor is so monotone. Here's the thing. The Native American tribes were known to be stoic people. They were known to not have any emotion behind their language. They're known for that, and people don't know that, so they think of Native Americans, talking from, I live in America. I live in a very native sort of land. Speaking as it feels weird to say, speaking for the Native American people that my people have colonized, so shame on me for that. But no, like in the education system, like we know that Native American people were stoic people. The indigenous people were stoic. So anytime there's a stoic Native American character, there's like, oh, that was really bad acting. That's how they talk. I hate it. I hate that. Like, oh, Connor's too stoic. That's so accurate.
He was very boring though.
But like that's how they spoke. Like,
yeah, but he can be monotone in the same way as monotone as Cloud Strife or Solid Snake or something like that. He's just boring, or even as I've played it recently, Kazuma Kiryu. He can be very monotone, but he's just not got anything to like. That game would have been. I think it would have been. I'm going to spoil a bit. It would have been phenomenal if for some way, the entire game they made you play as Haytham Kenway, and then the twist that comes early on in the game, that was the ending. I would have dropped my controller if they could have held that from the secret. And the entire game you've been playing thinking that you're doing this, but then the twist comes, it's like, I'll be like, holy.
I don't know. I'm a big defender for Assassin's Creed 3. I'm a huge
Yeah, well, you're on the wrong side of history there. You're on the wrong side of history as all the others.
Well, yeah, especially the 4 pillars, lasers, Fiji, like the Assassin's Creed people hate Assassin's Creed 3. Like the actual like people who like the fan base across Assassin's Creed, like the presence of Assassin's, not anymore. They don't do that anymore, but They even hate it. I'm like, no, I'm still defending Assassin's Creed 3 for
I don't
sure.
think it's terrible. I think it's like mid for me. But then there's a lot of the games in that series that become mid. And even like I haven't played Valhalla yet, and I've seen like you got like some big critical reviews, but it's like I had a friend say to me, it's like, don't play it. And it's like it looks so long, so time consuming. Some of the games are for Ubisoft as well. It's like it's just mundane. It's like
it takes 110 hours to beat, dude. 110 hours.
That's what I mean. And I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have 110 hours on me anymore. So it's like that's my kind of conversation with.
That's why I liked Origins, because Origins took the step, and I was like, okay, I can get behind this. Odyssey took it a step in the wrong direction in that, and then Valhalla is just like, no, stop, we're missing the point here. I liked Origins because it was taking the step, but then Odyssey and Valhalla just screwed it over. But this isn't about Assassin's Creed. We should go back to hold on.
Yeah, we need to go away from Creed cast and put it back onto StrangeCast at this point.
Yes.
But why I was bringing that up, I think why I was bringing up that was kind of like relating to the kind of idea that I think like Life is Strange will kind of like hollow itself out and it'll lose identity of what it is. I don't think even the DNA or whatever they class it as. It's when it's like, do you want like I read like when Resident Evil 7 came out, I really enjoyed that. And I went and watched some like the reviewers, the YouTubers, the guys who were really critical analysis as they do. Some of them were like, it's a return to formula for Resident Evil. It's like, what is this a return to? I was like, this is not Resident Evil in the sense that you consider as formula. What is its formula? It's like if you're going to dilute and make such a simple statement, like what is the formula that Mikami made in the first Resident Evil that you're pulling from 7? Because a lot of it isn't even there. It went first person to start with. That's already a big enough shift from the series. But that's what I'm saying with like Life is Strange. Like I think the way that Square Enix is handling the franchise and the way it's handled it with this has been like a mess on a different level. It's like they should have just basically had enough faith in True Colors to be like, it's coming out. Here you go, enjoy it. In the meantime, we're going to be working on other stuff like Life is Strange. They could have kept this for the 10-year anniversary. They could have basically spent enough time on it to work on it and do other stuff. Because like when we spoke to Anastasia and she talked about the mocap stuff, the facial stuff sounded like intense as hell for them to kind of like fire out all these lines and stuff. But what I feel about this as well, like this Arcadia Bay collection coming out, and obviously I already like have that kind of thing with the name change as well. It's like it does feel like it's
we got a lot of feelings about that.
Yeah, the royalties need to be there if anything, but like, I mean.
Can I get my final thoughts?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Because this actually relates to what you're saying. This actually relates a lot. So here's my final thoughts for this game. If I were to recommend it to somebody, here's the thing. I don't think I would go out of my way. If you're a Switch owner and you're obviously watching this show, listening to this show, you've played Life is Strange. Should you get it on the Switch? I don't know if I would recommend it to you because it's something you've already played, and it's on the Switch. It's novel, right? Here's where I think this game brings light to Life is Strange. Okay, so do you know the history of how the Office, the American version of The Office, came to be?
Yes, to an extent, but also as well. I'll talk about that. I'll let you continue. You have a guest joining us right now, so this is. You're scratching at my door, so he is arriving on the podcast, but I'll let you continue.
So the US version was just like kind of like a throwaway show to like, fill a gap, right? And so they let's just make the American version. We'll just do it for a season and that's it. But then they did season 2, it got canceled. The reason why it came back for season 3, right? Season 2 or 3. Is because it became the most downloaded show on iTunes in that time frame. And people were just like clawing at the bit. They weren't watching it on TV. They were watching it on iTunes. They were downloading it. The DVD sales were hitting high. They're like, oh crap. So this show can be something because people downloaded it. Yeah. Here's my point going back to Arcadia Bay. I wouldn't recommend it. However, it is now on a Switch platform. Okay. Some people have never played this game ever. They've never owned an Xbox. They never owned a PlayStation. They've only owned Nintendo consoles. Okay. Yeah. This game will be on sale on the eShop. I'm going to give it about a month before it's on sale. Someone's going to be scrolling through the eShop.
Sorry, generous.
Like it's going to be $20 pretty soon. And if not, it's going to be the permanent price for $20. Give this about a year. Somebody's going to be scrolling through. A lot of people are going to be scrolling through the eShop, right? And they'll see Life is Strange Arcadia collection on sale. Like, oh, I've never played this game. I've always wanted to play these titles. It's on sale. Why not? They download it. They play it through. And it's not the prettiest game, but you get the Life is Strange feel. And they're like, whoa, this game is something. Right? So you strike a new audience. Life is Strange starts to very slowly, right? Very slowly and gradually start to gain relevancy again. And people want to play more games like this. And that's where I think this could actually help out the Life is Strange brand, because it's now on the ecosystem of Nintendo. Someone's going to just buy it. It's on sale. Give it about a year. And people are going to be like, oh, this game was nice. And there you go. I think that's the only purpose behind the Arcadia Bay collection. Just put it on a Nintendo console. You know, people will find it. People will stumble upon it. That's where I'll recommend it. Stumble on it on a sale. You know, that's it. Like, if it's on sale, yeah, go ahead, buy it. It functions. It runs well. The captions work. Okay, the captions actually work. You know, just have a good time. It's fine. It's not going to blow your mind, but it's Life is Strange on Switch. You know, get it on sale. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I recommend it for.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way that most people go with it. I think it's indicative, like, a lot of this conversation was dominated by Assassin's Creed, which tells us about how we feel about the collection. But I think one more thing I wanted to actually mention as well, because we mentioned it before, and I remembered it now, was, like, the Max scene from the funeral. And I think, like, did you notice any other scenes that were noticeably changed? Because that one did seem noticeably changed in terms of how much she was crying, because obviously, as we spoke about, and even Michel put his 2 cents in on Twitter when we talk about for the remastered collection.
Ashley Birch's name is spelled correctly, so
success.
Yeah,
success.
I did say that. I did see it. There were, like I said, there were some lighting issues that were fixed. I think there was some lighting that was actually generated in this game that I saw better than the Xbox version. I think the lighting was done really well in this game, to kind of portray like the actual mood of it. I think the lip syncing was pretty on spot. There was nothing really noticeable that I saw that really changed.
Yeah.
That I saw. Nothing really, but like that Max scene at the funeral. That's where I always sacrifice Chloe. I'm like, you're dead. Sorry, dude. Sorry. I gotta save Pompidou. But no,
Shocking.
It was sorry, not sorry. But that was the one thing I was like, oh, bro, she's not like flooding tears. Holy cow. And I don't know if it's because they couldn't generate tears or they actually fixed it. Either way, it's fixed. She's not crying like a whole waterfall. It's good. But no, like I thought this functioned fine. Like it was good functioning game. I think the mood was set right in this game, and I don't know. I really liked it, especially what I played with Before the Storm. I didn't really see anything that kind of hindered my gameplay. Like there wasn't anything that kind of said like this is chugging. Nothing really took my experience out of it. There was no pop-in textures like people are saying. I didn't notice anything like pop-in textures, and I noticed that a lot. This one was just like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. The reflection on Dana's earrings didn't happen. Like that whole lighting thing, that didn't happen. And it functioned very nicely. So I don't know. The Max funeral scene really stuck out to me though.
Yeah. I wonder if they must have seen that tweet or seen the reaction towards it or something like that. It just seemed a bit like, come on, like they can't be just changing it for the sake of it. Like you want to change something like that just for, people are saying, I feel like they must have seen that tweet or something.
They had to.
Yeah.
No,
absolutely.
It was good though. Yeah, it was really good. Like, I'm glad that he actually changed it though.
Yeah, it needed to be done. Like I think, like when Michel put his 2 cents in it, and like he wasn't saying anything bad about it, like in the way that people would assume or something. He was just kind of giving his own take because people were asking about it. I do wonder if he's actually played it all, and him and Luke. So it'd be interesting to see what they thought about it. But it just be I think like as I said, they were treading into sacred territory with this kind of like game and the series. But as I said, like nothing is sacred though. So as I said, like if you feel me when I keep saying like they can remake Life is Strange 1, and I'm like, watch them do it, because they will do it at some point. I assure you in that. You can tap into a bit of nostalgia, a bit of money, like you're going to do it. I'm sorry if I sound very cynical, but that is unfortunate to say of the gaming industry right now, because that's what they'll if they remake The Last of Us from 9 years ago. Well, anything can be remade. Remake. As I always put in
remake.
Putting apostrophes, because if that's a remake, then Jesus Christ. And I say this as someone who's been playing the first Yakuza remade, and that is a remake of a game that I haven't even played, but I can tell it's a remake of a very good game anyway. So anyway, let's wrap that up. Then we'll leave that for the main topic, and we'll go into spread the arts here. Do you want to go first?
I think I will. So,
Jesus Christ. I don't know what to raise myself for this podcast, this segment.
Yeah. Hey, you, American person. Yeah, you, the person living in America. Do you have HBO Max? Oh, well, that's cool, because you should definitely binge watch the British version, specifically the British version of Ghosts. So, if you don't know what this is, Ghost was actually made into the American version, and me and Liz watched the American version, and we could not get past 2 episodes. It is awful. It is very Americanized. There's no subtlety put into it. It's just a garbage fire. Whereas the British version of Ghost, the BBC version of Ghosts on HBO Max, currently right now, if you live in the States, it's very clever. Like, it's really good. It's very subtle. I think it's a very charming story about a woman who can see the ghosts in a new mansion that she moved into and inherited, but her husband can't see the ghosts. And you get to learn like these different stories. There's subtlety involved. I like how they don't tell you about each person's death until like later on in the episodes. You get to like really feel out every single character in this plot. And all around, I think it's a very charming story. I'll put it that way. It's very charming, very clever. You get to learn some British lingo along the way. And the acting is, it's like very cross and to let and all that. No, I think it was very nice story, and it's still continuing. It still has a new season coming out, so get on that. Ghosts, the British version, HBO Max. Yeah,
HBO Max. Yeah, because it's on the iPlayer now. I'm looking at it.
Yes.
Yeah, it does sound interesting. That. Yeah, as I say, it looks very British as well, so it's gonna.
Yeah, it's not gonna blow your mind with the story, but it's just like it's one of those shows that you put on just for a nice feeling. You know, it's just like, oh, it's nice. It's cool. It's funny. It's good for a good chuckle. It's not going to make you laugh out loud, but it's definitely got that like chuckle factor, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's a good recommendation. So I'm going to keep mine on the Brit. I'm going left field completely with mine right now. And An
American show.
No, it's British. But I was going to recommend Yakuza at first, but we'll leave that for another time once I've finished it. So this is a TV show that I've been watching, which I don't know if you can watch it in the US. I won't watch it in All 4, which is like Channel 4 live player thing. You might be able to find it online somewhere. So it's a show called Make Me Prime Minister. So,
okay.
It's hosted by Alistair Campbell, who was a spin doctor for Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister. He's also his press secretary. And it's also hosted by Baroness Warsi, who is the first Conservative chairwoman, first Muslim-born Conservative chairwoman. I think that's what she's like more famously known for. And it's basically, have you seen The Apprentice with Alan Sugar?
Oh yes,
yeah, and same with like the Donald Trump version. Like it's basically that. It's set in the same context of that, but it's basically they take about I think it's like a dozen people from the public, and
look at that.
And they give them the opportunity to be prime minister. So in this climate of how effed up the world is, and I think most people kind of relate to that.
For us American folk, what is a prime minister?
So the prime minister is essentially the equivalent of the president here. Obviously, we have a monarch who I would very much gladly get rid of, but we have a monarch, and then underneath that, then there's the prime minister. Prime minister is the person who will enact all laws, leads the party, etc. So it's like you're essentially a president. But the kind of the premise is basically just to take 12 random people from the from everyday walks of life, and then they put them in the scenario where it's like each week one person like positions themselves to become prime minister of a fictional party with like 4 or 5 other people working under them, and then from that it's just like chaos ensues, because it shows like there's like an art form of like spinning things and making people believe in like certain, like, you know, it's not just easy as, oh, I'll become prime minister and I'll, you know, make free school meals for everyone, and then I'll slap up corporation tax by 2% and I can fund it that way. Because then at that point, they kind of do things in the show where it's like they bring members of the actual media in, so bring people from the British media in, and they do interviews with these people. But then they kind of like, you see the arse drop the minute that they do it, because like, and it's like when you realize that a journalist is interrogating you that way, it's like, oh damn. So yeah, each week it's like some person will take turns become prime minister. They'll like enact a policy. They'll have a search situation that they have to deal with, and then at the end of it, the losing party, the prime minister can either resign and walk off the show, or they can basically say, I'm not going to leave, and then it's down to the 2 hosts to vote on who leaves. So you can either basically take the moral high ground of leaving as the elected leader, or you can be like, nah, it's not my fault, it's my team's fault.
Damn.
And yeah, as I said, it's really interesting. I think like I'm very much interested in politics, and I've been very much interested in my history all my life. And I never really got into The Apprentice as that kind of show, but this kind of like gives me the vibes where I'm like, this is actually a really clever show to drop right now. And I don't know if, obviously, I think if you have to find like a VPN or something to watch it in the US, but I would recommend it.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I don't think I can watch it just yet.
Yeah, so this is more on the British side recommendation, but if you can go on a VPN or something, you can watch it online. I think I wouldn't be surprised if someone's uploaded it somewhere else, and not that I'm advocating it, but you know. But it's worth watching, so I think you'll appreciate how funny I found it really funny. It's like something that relates to me more than, you know, watching The Apprentice, for example. I think like putting people in that circumstance, you realize how difficult it is, and you realize how clever spin is as well. Do you know, like media, it's been done for years as well, especially in even the US as well. They did it with Bill Clinton. They do with all kinds of like presidents. It's like the spinning of things is so much more important, intricacy, because you can't just do something goofy and then expect, oh, this is going to be a good idea, because the minute that you do that, the media is going to focus on what you're doing is goofy, and it's like, we'll cover that angle instead. They're not there to be friends. So I would recommend that, just as a completely left field kind of one. But yeah,
damn. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping my eye on that if that ever comes out in the US.
It is obviously very English, but in itself, like, I know the Yanks love English. They love Doctor Who. They love English. I think like, if you want to get an idea of the political system and a interesting way of doing it, this is the way. Because as I said, like, there's a protester on one of them who's one of the candidates. It's like, wait a minute, what? So weird.
Yeah.
Jeez. But yeah,
no, cool. Good recommendation. Yeah.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I think we should wrap up here. My cat is meowing at me as well. He's been walking around as he made his first appearance on StrangeCast. But yeah, I'm gonna give me a second. I need to let him. There you go.
Oh, there he goes.
He's climbing on the bed. Yeah. Well, I know he's there. He'll be walking through in a second, and you'll see him. Anyway, I'll wrap the show up here, because as we're done, there he is.
Hey.
Yeah. So there's a fun story with that. So basically, he'll sleep in my room during the day when my mum goes into our spare bedroom, but he sleeps in the spare bedroom normally. But he doesn't go into the spare bedroom when my mum's there, because he feels like she's intruding. So he's currently positioned here. Anyway, and if you're listening to the podcast version, obviously I've completely forgot my cat has made his debut on StrangeCast. 17 in December. Just that.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining us on this episode of StrangeCast. If you did enjoy it, well, even if you didn't enjoy it, please subscribe, turn on notifications, share this video, comment. I would really like to hit 1,000 at some point in the future, so you know, it'd be great to get people to subscribe. 963 at the last count. I'm hoping it stays at that when this episode drops. But yeah, if you can subscribe and you're new here, just turn on notifications as well. You see when our videos drop. And also, as well, as I said before, StrangeCast is available on podcast services. So if you want to watch us on the Spotify version, we're there. If you want to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, you want to listen to Amazon, we're pretty much signed on every subscription service that I've seen. So we are all on there. So yeah, stay tuned. I don't know when Life After Strange is coming back. I'll just say very clearly right now that I'm very burnt out. So even doing StrangeCast at the minute is painful at this point, because I'm just really, really in the weeds at the minute. And I think Adam is as well. I think our weeks have been oh god. But StrangeCast is kind of like the staple for this channel for the time being. So it's like you'll always get one every 2 weeks, and then hopefully in the next couple of weeks, when things pick up, I can try and get back on Life After Strange at some point. So do stay tuned anyway. There'll be more content coming to this channel. Until then, guys, take care. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.